Hello, you radiant human you. How are you? Welcome back to Walking in Magic. I'm MA. Thank you for being here. Go light a candle, grab yourself a cup of something warm, and let us chat. This will be a very impromptu, spur of the moment, just chat like we're sitting together in a coffee shop. And you're asking me, hey, I really want to do this thing, and I'm just sort of, I have all these reasons why I don't think I can do it, and I'm going to invite you and maybe even convince you to do the thing. Hold on, let me gently send that call to voicemail, which I probably won't check. True story. Text me. Don't leave a voicemail because I never check them. So I have fresh unicorn hair. Look at this. Shout out to my, even like, look at my hair. You see this? My incredible stylist. I call her my hair sorceress, Soraya. Thank you so much from Color Parlor here in Miami. If you're in Miami and want some beautiful hair, they also do other fabulous things. Highly recommend. I have had my unicorn / mermaid / magical hair for 2 years. It was 2 years, November. And last November, I wanted to record, and I even recorded some footage at the salon. This used to be the old salon because they recently moved into a new space. I recorded some footage with her that I never even used. I wanted to share a 1 year after getting my unicorn hair with some thoughts that centered around basically the invitation to do the thing that you've been thinking about, that you're not sure, that feels extra like magical, or definitely like something in the realm of self-expression, perhaps, to do the thing. We so often hesitate, and I wanted to share with you my story now 2 years later of having made the choice to go all in with my hair as an example of what that could look like for you, because 2 years later I have all but zero regrets. Obviously, I've kept it up until this point, so clearly I love it. Whatever other people think about it feels very irrelevant, because this is something that really provides, it's such a source of joy for me. And I always get a lot of really lovely compliments from people who do like it. When they do, they'll tell me, and I love having those conversations because it always feels like an opportunity, like a little wink of like, hey, you could do it too. At least that's how I would have felt when all the times that I saw somebody else that had something external that showcased their like expression, I always felt very drawn to that. And so do the thing. Why do the thing? Well, life is short, not as cliche as it sounds. Life is short. I can tell you that our days are precious, and that doesn't mean live with dread. It means quite the opposite. It means live with optimism, live with joy, live with a sense of possibility. People won't care about the thing you want to do in the way that you think they might. Even if you get comments, and I've probably gotten maybe 2. There's one comment from somebody who I care about that kind of stung at the beginning, and she didn't mean it in that way, but it came across and I was like, it was triggering. I don't know that it would trigger me now, 2 years later, into my own self-development and growth, which is a good story to tell now in terms of like, hey, I don't think that would trigger me in the same way, but it did. And I can't really think of any other circumstances where anybody has said anything remotely that I was like, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't have this color of hair that I love so much. Quite the opposite. I think it's there's an overabundance of positivity. And even if the person admiring your hair would never do the thing to their hair, or doesn't like their color combination of what you chose, obviously this is a color palette that I'm drawn to, there's still sort of this twinkle in their eye about you did the thing. And that is effing like, that takes ovaries, you did the thing. That's really cool. And I love that. And I love that because it's something that I feel also when I see other people. It happens to me when I see people with tattoos. I see women with tattoos out there and I'm like, you did the thing. My sister-in-law One of my sisters-in-law in Puerto Rico has all these beautiful tattoos all over her body. And I'm always looking at her like, girl, you did the thing. And she keeps doing the thing and keeps adding to her collection. I have a few tattoos of my own, and I recently got this new one, which I am completely obsessed with, and this one that I've had since last year. And also in the realm of I do not regret at all having these. They tell a story, they make me feel empowered. I love looking at them in the mirror. It's a sign of who I am, and it's an outward expression of who I am, which is where I think we get kind of caught up because we're afraid of what's going to happen on the other side when we expose that piece of us, that very expressive, creative part of us that may not be received in the same way that we may view it. And that's kind of the whole point about doing the thing anyway. Tattoos are obviously more in the very permanent realm, more so than this kind of hair color. It is a commitment, I will tell you, absolutely a commitment. It is a commitment of time, of caring for it, although I've hit a pretty good, really easy for me routine for caring for my hair, and it's been incredibly healthy ever since I got it done. I also sought out somebody who knew what they were doing to do it properly. It is an investment in money, absolutely. Doing fantasy colors, it's a whole other sort of tier of investment. And it is something that I have chosen to prioritize because it really feels like a big, deep hug for me, to me, in terms of my own self-care and my own sense of moving about the world with like, this is who I am. It feels like a gift every single time. And it's something that Jules has supported from the beginning and has grown to support even more and more and more in terms of within the scope of the resources that we have, which are precious and, finite in terms of what, money that we do have. Not spending it on other things and focusing it on my hair may not seem like it makes sense for other people. The same like tattoos. Tattoos can be pricey. All of these things can be pricey. Whatever it is that you do that feels like comes from this inspired inner place, again, may not be received by other people in a way that seems practical or logical. And therein lies the transformation, the inner decision to say, if it's within my means to do so, and I have, and it is a priority for me, it feels like a priority, then the practicality and the logical conversation, which we could layer onto so many of the other reasons why we don't do the things we do, or don't go out to say the things that we feel like we want to say, or build the things or create the things, because we're so afraid of people looking at us and placing their loads of judgment or disbelief on us. And that can feel very heavy and that can feel very crunchy. And so the willingness to walk in your magic and kind of put all that sort of like, it's okay, I'm just moving it to the side and I'm doing my thing, is incredibly empowering and courageous. And it does take that momentum and movement forward. So do the thing. So I want you to think about when I say the phrase, so what do you want to do, right? And you think, well, I would do, if I really could, I would do fill in the blank. This could be a variety of different topics, by the way. It doesn't have to be about your hair or tattoos or the things we've talked about here. If I really, really could, I would do this. Or I see other people doing this thing and it just seems like something I would love to explore, experiment, try. Go do the thing. Give yourself the gift of getting curious and experimenting and exploring with the thing. It's going to be a leap. It's going to be a trust fall. It's going to feel like this exhilarating, like going down a roller coaster into like the pit of like your stomach even churning, going like, oh my God, what am I doing? But give yourself the opportunity to walk and launch yourself into that leap of faith and that quantum leap of experience, because on the other side is the glow up. On the other side, you might have a few days when you're like, what did I do? Or you might have a few days when you're like, this is amazing. Wherever you fall, I think for the most part, a lot of the things that we are afraid will happen if we do something that's out of the ordinary like this, they won't. I think the primary feeling and the result will be liberation, will be freedom, will be, I tried the thing. And if it doesn't work out, you really can always go back. The hair will grow back. You can re-dye it. Tattoos, okay, a little bit more tricky, but they can be removed. They can be adjusted. And there's a difference between doing something that is really like impulsive and just like, reckless. We're afraid of being reckless, right? We're afraid of being too reckless, too impulsive, making a decision that we can't come back from. But I promise you that, especially if you're watching this, if you're anything like me, I think the things that we're afraid might be reckless are really not that reckless. Like, we were so afraid maybe of making a mistake along the way that we don't even give ourselves the chance to try, to see what it actually feels like. And we might spend many, many, many years just kind of sitting in that wondering, in the space of wondering and in the space of hesitation. The year to come, I'm recording this almost mid-December 2023. The year to come is a year that I think is going to ask us to really look at the concept of hesitation and where we can shift our perspective around it and spark new things into existence that come from within. Like an inner spark that actually comes out and emerges. And hesitation is one of the biggest blocks and obstacles to that I think if you're down for it, if you enroll yourself in the soul school, as I like to call it, soul school, and then you fill in the blank with the course you want to take. Soul school of, I want to move past hesitation, then get ready for life to show you a multitude of experiences that will bring you very close to that concept of where are you hesitating and why? And will give you plenty of opportunities to move past that point of possible hesitation. I think it's going to be a wonderful year to work with that energy, to work with that consciously. And how we move past it, it's in the movement, it's in the momentum. I always say momentum is magic. There has to be some sort of kinetic action that moves you past the point where you have been sitting. You've been sitting sort of on idle. It's like a car that's like, but you were made to drive. You were made to explore. You were made to look at incredible vistas. But we hold these fears, right? And so you've been on idle. What will it take for you to actually put your foot on the gas pedal? And it doesn't mean you have to peel out like go crazy, but just give it gas. I bet you the places that you've been sitting on in sort of a hesitation energy, which by the way takes a lot of energy overall, that like just sitting there, you're consuming resources, your own resources that could be used to move you forward. Here's the things. We think the movement forward has to mean a certain point of success. If I don't reach a certain milestone, then this was not worth it. We have an agenda. We confuse having goals, and a vision is a beautiful way to say it, right? Because it's like the vision of, I want to explore. And then you can add more specific goals to it because it's really nice to be able to see what you've achieved along the way and celebrate those moments. But when we're only basing our trajectory forward in terms of the milestones that we get right and their success, and I am right there with you. I am forever working on this. And every time I think I've dissolved more of that, I am met with a new level of like, oh, I'm there. I'm there. It happens to me when I think about creating content, making videos, recording podcasts, sharing things. Also, in my life, I always say like life has been lifing really hard for the past 3.5 years. With our whole ALS journey and everything, it is so like amplified in my existence that I give myself a lot of grace around. I don't have the same bandwidth to like, create. But in the moments when I do, Like right now is a perfect example where I do have a window. My husband's taken care of. We have Dennis here. He'll be here till 5. And I was laying down and I was about to like, all right, I'm going to take a little like nap. I'm going to watch some YouTube videos. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what I really want to do is create one. And then I go, well, I want to create a video about my hair because I did it today and it feels like it's a juicy like energy. Okay, great. And in the car, I was all revved up about it. No pun intended. I was all revved up about doing this video. And then I got home and it was like, my energy shifted. And so I give myself a break to like, okay, I was about to not do it. I was giving myself already the runaround of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then we do this to ourselves. And there's a difference between giving ourselves that space to rest, which is absolutely vital and necessary. But how many times do we use other excuses as a crutch to not do the thing we want to do? Maybe the thing you want to do is make a video and you're afraid of the logistics of recording it, putting it on YouTube, opening the channel, how many people will watch it. Maybe just 2 people will watch it. Maybe it's just my mom and her friend and my friend who watches it because she's like, hey, I want to support MA. But I have a lot more beautiful friends that want to support my work. And I have other beautiful friends that never watch one of my videos. If I sat here looking at all the people that do or do not, which I do, by the way, I wouldn't create anything. When I have like gaps in my content, that's usually what I'm working through, is that, oh, I thought more people were going to watch that. I thought more people were going to sign up to that thing that I'm creating. I thought more people. So I have to work myself back from, okay, why am I doing this? Why does it matter? Why do I love it? Why do I get to do this? I don't have to do this. Like, yes, I want to earn a living for my family very clearly through these efforts that I do because we need those resources. And also, I want it to be in a way that reflects my beliefs and my values about life and the time I want to spend with my family, and always keeping Jules' care and my mothering of Skylar as priorities. All that to say, if you're feeling any of this, I get you, and we still get to do the thing. So what is the thing that you're like, oh, I wish? And are you telling yourself, you know what? I'll start it in the new year. Isn't that the perfect? And then what happens? December clocks out. We ring in the new year. Yay. January, you might start kind of on all cylinders. And then what happens is the follow-through monster creeps in and says, hi, you did this a couple times because it seemed exciting and juicy, and now you have to do it again to keep the consistency and the momentum going, but you haven't done it. And so and we can fall back on old patterns of like, well, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it when I ... I'll do it when the kids ... I'll do it when I don't know that we will ever have that magical moment of this is it. And even with life's ups and downs and bumps and demands on your time and your energy, to pour your passion into at least even if it's a very faint pulse of what it is that you want to do, the thing, that is beyond valuable. Don't take yourself out of the game. Don't take yourself out of the game. It's not always going to look like, oh, the big thing that I want to do, and here it is, and we got to. Sometimes it's literally going to be, again, this tiny little beat, this tiny pulse, barely audible, but it's there. Keep tending to it, and don't take yourself out of the game of your own life. Next year, we're going to be working with this really important theme of self, and I'm going to call it self-advocacy, advocating for yourself. We'll explore much more of that to come. But this is part of that, so that your energy can radiate out. Because if not, we know what happens. We feel crunched in. We feel like we're just not doing us. We're doing everybody else, but we're not doing us. And that will look like a whole different set of ingredients for each of us, but there are some similarities that run across the board. And I bet you that there are more times when you take yourself out of your own game, not for lack of passion, but for the questions and the old tapes that keep looping in your head about why doing this might be whatever it is that makes it scary and not something that you can follow through on, or you're going to repeat the same pattern. So why start again? I think we are meant to be these beautifully imperfect, incredibly imperfect human machines of exploration and experimentation. Think about any new invention, development. This is who we are. I've said in the work that I do in terms of creatrix consciousness, walking in magic, the work I do in clients with ceremonies in clients. Well, I do work in clients, I think, when they're like open to it. Energy swirls in different ways. But with clients, a lot of it is in service of me understanding that I am an agent of creation. And what that means is that big part of my job and purpose is to aid in the creation of new things, which is why I talk about turning your light into form. I talk about momentum as magic. I talk about mindset, magic, momentum. I talk about, doing the thing, because through you, things are meant to be created. Thoughts are meant to be explored. Philosophies are meant to be sent out in swirls in the world to impact others. Conversations, communities. You gather energy around you to then just share it out. You might very well feel yourself tap into that energy of, I am an agent of creation. I am in service of creation itself. Through you, ideas come into form. Light, imagination, all of the unknown, the mysteries of the ether that we are pulling in to make new things that have not existed before. When we think about the constraints and the pressure we've put on ourselves to create things with the goal of success rather than the goal of experimenting and repeating the experiment, time and time and time again. The reps. Get back in there and try it again. We've been so conditioned to do something, to start something and have it be successful. And this has been such a thread in my own life. And if it doesn't have the level of success that you expected, or if it does, we still find a way to sneakily self-sabotage ourselves afterwards because we don't give ourselves the chance to repeat the experiment again, to fine-tune it, to lock into something that is like, So how does this all weave into do the thing? Maybe an experiment that you want to take on for yourself is the experiment of, what would it look like for me to do the things that I want, do the things that I desire, say the thing, create the thing, put the thing out into the world. That could be you also serving as an agent of creation through your own life and being willing to fail in the process. We'll have our best lessons through failure. Learning how to learn as we're learning. We don't know everything. We're also conditioned to think that you're supposed to know already. Like, you should have known better. Imagine you're a coach or you're a healer and you have a programmer and experience. And this is part of my ethos and a lot of the other women that I get to work with. So it makes sense to share. You create a program that you feel really passionate about and you have a certain goal you want to set and you move through that and it doesn't happen. Or you start recording videos and you want to get to a certain number and you see other people doing the thing and you're like, oh yes, I should listen to these words. I should be able to do that. I should be able to do that. And so we move forward, all excited at first. We hit a few pitfalls as we inevitably will. And then we get to a point where we check in. have like a milestone moment and go, this wasn't worth it. I did all this work and look, I only have 2 new subscribers on YouTube. Whatever. Only 3 people signed up for this program when I was really hoping 10 would sign up. I opened this beautiful membership space and crickets. I offered this thing that I know will be so helpful and it's at a great price and crickets. Are we willing to do it again? Are we willing to look at it, to rework it, to explore and experiment with it again? Or are we going to succumb to the failure? When you do the thing, there was always a risk of the thing not working out. Always. But we have to be willing to do it anyway. It just wouldn't work any other way. It's like launching a rocket into space. There is a risk that a lot of things could go wrong. Like thousands and thousands of little micro things that could go wrong. But these engineers and these, incredible scientists that have built this thing together and have funded it and they have to take the risk. There will always be risk involved. Always. And in that, moving past the moments of risk and doing it in a way where you feel like you get to trust yourself, like you will trust yourself more and more the more we do things. I hope this is making sense. Let me know if it is. It's such a beautiful conversation to have and such a living and breathing inquiry in terms of how we approach things, how we show up to things, how we decide to do or not do something, how we cut ourselves off from our very own life force through creativity, through exploration, how we judge others. Oh, I'm going to take a sip because somebody needs coffee. How we might be in judgment of others when they go out and do the thing. Do we have snarky thoughts? Do we go, oh, I hope that works out. I don't know. Like, be honest with yourself. Just rip off the Band-Aids of like, we got no time for that. We get to be honest here and just like, okay, snarky thoughts of competition, thoughts of, well, sure, I'm supporting you, but like all of that are reflections of how you feel about your own ability to take a leap of creation, of doing the thing. I'm going to even extend that further into being the version of you that you want to be. Literally constructing and designing the self that you want to live and inhabit in this body, in this one chance that we have on earth in this particular lifetime. So do the thing. And what is the thing? Let me know in the comments below. I always say that, and I hope more people comment. And sometimes, well, many times they don't. And I get to move through that. And it's okay. Don't feel bad if you're not going to comment. I don't comment on all the videos I watch. And people say, oh, comment below. Here's the thing too. Real talk. We're just ripping all the Band-Aids off. If I say in the video, okay, try this on for size yourself. If I say, oh, comment below with whatever, and it's crickets and maybe it's one comment. When I'm watching someone else's video and I'm getting value out of it, and I do consciously support the people that I watch videos with. I may not comment, but I will like, because it really feels like a vote of like, go on, like do the thing. You're doing it. You're doing it. And it's inspiring to me. But if they were sitting there expecting for all of the people that get some sort of value from their creation, they're also intimate, personal, putting something out into the world. If they're dependent on that to make the next creation happen, we would have way less art, books, poetry, music. Like, think about if the artists that we love and follow weren't willing to take risks over the lifespan of their creative ventures, we would have a paltry, like very meager selection of things to listen to and watch and read and experience and decorate our homes with and go to museums for. If they all thought like, oh, and being an artist, and an artist is anybody who is creating something from nothing, takes that courage and takes that vulnerability. And doing the thing takes that courage and takes that vulnerability, because at the same time, you must be willing to break through the fear of the external perception that anybody might have. I don't want people to look at me a certain way, or I don't want to hurt people if I do this. Lots to ponder. So, my friend, what are you going to do with this crazy, beautiful handful of, what is it? We have 2.5 weeks left in this year. I'm already feeling into my word of the year for next year. It won't be a surprise if you've been paying attention to this video. I am feeling into the ways that I want to give myself the gift of consistency in this year within the scope of my life. I've been feeling into the themes that are coming through in 2024. Feels like there's a lot of beautiful stuff coming through, and I choose to sit in that, dwell in it. Hard things will continue to surround us. A lot of, intense energy, and also a lot of beauty and a lot of. So who will you be, and what role will you choose to play authentically and vulnerably in this new, beautiful blank canvas that we have in front of us? How will you celebrate this past year? How will you choose to do the thing? And don't wait. Create. Don't wait. Create. So if you're waiting, like I was saying earlier in the video that I got on a tangent, if you're waiting for, next year I will, ... I would encourage you to find, even if it's a portion of that thing, and bring the energy into this year. Click it in. Energy, the working of magic, is basically this activation becomes a physical representation of how you want to move the energy. So imagine the thing you want to create next year. Start working on it this year. Start casting your spell, which starts with the intention and your heart and your soul, then moves into the mechanics of, how do I do this? And then has to move into the kinetic action of the world, of like form. That's where we experiment. That's where trial and error happens. And that's a space where things can get really extra vulnerable, because while they're in our soul, they're safe. In our hearts, in our minds, they're safe, right? I've said for years, be wary of your journals, because they may be the place where your dreams go to die. By the way, I journal all the time. And I do it with the intention of capturing thoughts and seeing what wants to come through to see the light of day, and then giving it its fair chance, so that I don't take myself out of the game. And I do take myself out of the game often. And I reflect on it and I go, okay, what's a different choice I could have made there? And I take a breath and I go on to the next moment by moment. So what beautiful, wild piece of your vision are you going to bring into form this year? It's a good time. It's a good time to do that. All right, my friend, thank you for watching. Thank you if you've been watching up until this moment in time. Put an emoji. Let's see, what emoji? What emoji? You decide. Tell me an emoji story. Your 3 favorite emojis. Or, I like this one. Your 3 most recent emojis. So when you pull it up, you know how it shows you the history? The 3 most recent ones. I've seen that on social media before, years ago, and I thought, we'll bring it back. The 3 recent ones, put them there. I'll do the same, and I'll pin a comment so that you see mine. I love you. I send you love and stardust. Remember, courage looks really good on you, and so does optimism. So go out into the world and make beautiful things happen. Be well, my friend. I will see you in the next video. Adios.